Rural Heritage on RFD TV is brought to you by Rural Heritage Magazine, a bi-monthly magazine featuring articles about farming and logging with draft animal power, small-scale diversified family farming and homesteading, and other aspects of our rich rural heritage. Rural Heritage Magazine, borrowing from yesterday to do the work of today. For subscription information, please call 319-362-3027 or order online at www.ruralheritage.com.
This is what we call our international meeting. And we set it up a number of years ago, started the tradition a number of years ago when things that happened, like Wayne Wenger may tell you a story of his, but there's another story that comes even closer here to Davis County, and that is, if you'll check with Kenny Raber, he can tell you the story, but he's not here. He's out driving his horses, so I'll tell you the story as best I can. But when Horse Progress Days was here, I'm not sure which time. I think it was maybe 2 times ago. I think it was, actually. He was at home a day or 2 before Horse Progress Days, and this guy drove in his driveway, and he got out of the car, couldn't speak a word of English. He was from Russia. And somehow, we still don't really know how he got to Kenny's place. Or I think he may have just driven into what he thought might be Amish country and stopped somewhere and had to be Kenny's place. And he said he communicated with Kenny that he really doesn't need a place. He just wants a place overnight. The barn's fine. The barn's fine. Well, Kenny said, "You're not sleeping in the barn. You're coming in the house with me and my wife, and we'll give you breakfast." And they couldn't communicate, but they did communicate. And Kenny just told me yesterday that he never saw the guy again. As a matter of fact, we had the international guest meeting and I kept saying, "Make sure he's there, make sure he's there." And we tried to tell him, Kenny tried to tell him, but he didn't understand. He wasn't there. He didn't come to the meeting. So he really couldn't communicate well at all. But the human interaction and care and love and concern for one another came through. And that's what we want to communicate here to our guests from other parts of the world. We really appreciate them taking the time and effort, spending the money to get here, be with us. We have a group from Germany here, and we have others from other places. And now I want to introduce you further, Harry and Naomi Charles. We are, through Horse Progress Days, is involved with an agricultural exchange program that we're pretty excited about with an agricultural group in East Africa, Tanzania. So Harry and Naomi are here for a 5-week period of spending time with us in Pennsylvania, and then from there they will go down to ECHO. ECHO is an acronym for, and I can't remember what it stands for, but it's an organization in Florida that works all around the world on sustainable agriculture and practices, and they're concentrating on cover crops. In fact, at ECHO's compound in Arusha, they have a cover crop seed bank. And then I just want to tell you just a little bit more about the process. The planter that you'll see demonstrated out there in the field, if you come out after this presentation, is actually being manufactured in Tanzania. There's about 30 or 40 or 25 or 30 units out working on farms, and I got to meet some of the farmers who are using them. It was really great. But they are being assembled at a place called Camara, there's a young man there by the name of Imran Kamisi, who at the age of 23 received a degree in mechanical engineering, so he's well trained from the University of Dar es Salaam. He fairly glowed when he talked about his work with ECHO, describing it as fun, especially as Harold and others come to share ideas for improvements, and he shares his ideas with them. Sounds to me like an R&D program. There are 5 what they call internal technicians. We would call them mechanics working in the shop, and here's something I found very impressive. On the payroll is a full-time product officer. Reminds me of some of the processes that some of the local Amish manufacturers use. This person's job is to thoroughly inspect each piece of equipment before it leaves the shop, and also to deal with any problems or suggestions from farmers who use it. And the focus of the shop is to produce quality equipment that works as it should. 2 other pieces of equipment complete and in various stages of completion were a stationary thrasher that can handle shelling corn, and 8 different kinds of beans. One piece just by simply taking the sieve out, the size of the holes, changing the size of the holes, can be used for a lot of different crops. And there are 3 outlets on it, one for dust, one for small particles, one for the grains to come out of, and it's run by a 7.5 horsepower engine. I could talk for a long time about all that I observed over there, but I hope you've gotten a little bit of a flavor of it. So Harry will, as I said, be coming to Lancaster, and we'll be working at Peckway Planter on several things. I asked the folks at Echo, if there's 3 things or 4 things, whatever, that you would say to me, I wish this planter could do this. We'll see what we can do. I don't know how much success we'll have, if any, but it's a tremendous honor, I think, to be working in partnership with the agriculturalists of Tanzania, like Harry and his other workers. And there's a quote here that I would refer to. I don't think it's quite direct, but I don't know if we'll be able to have any effect on the work that they are already doing or not. They're doing very good work already. Will we be able to help? I hope so. But here's the thing, if everything we do is measured only by our own definition of success, we will try to do very little.
I am able to do something that's low carbon emission. I could use animals that are lovely to be around. The work I'm going to be doing is the best work I can think of.
In my opinion, we're definitely at a critical moment that the work we do today will greatly affect tomorrow.
I don't use the horses because of the traditional aspect of it. I use them because they're the best. They're the most superior technique we've got to not damage the woods.
Okay, our friend Bob will get his donkeys over here soon, and we'll demonstrate this planter for you. Harry is preparing it here.
I appreciate that.
And there's a process that has to be done here. It's calibration. So this plate that you see here, this planter mechanism that you see here is very, very unique. It doesn't use a plate. So we also have a planter here from Tiller's, a very well-designed planter right behind us. We'll pull that one too if we can figure out a way to hook up to it. That one has a plate in it, like most of the planters that we're accustomed using. But this one, someone, Neil Rao Miller, I think maybe, from Echo, discovered this one, and it can handle many, many different size seeds, down to a wheat seed and barley, and of course corn, maize, as they call it in Africa. It adjusts sideways. You can loosen these toggles and then adjust sideways here for the size of the seed. Harry will demonstrate that for you. See that? See how that moves? So you can have all different kinds of seeds. And this is really a unique feature of this plow, of this planter. Now, this planter is mounted on something called the Maresha plow. They figured out a way to put a mechanism on this old piece of equipment that drops the seed in while they're making the path. That sounds really logical, right? I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, it's like so many things I see at Horse Progress Days. They make so much sense when you look at them and they're demonstrated. Well, of course, but to think of it from nothing, that's the challenge, and they've done it. Any changes we make and anything, components that we might want to be tempted to use as we do our work must be available in the Arusha region of Tanzania. We can't use anything, so they find a piece that costs $75, and we can't just go and buy that piece and use it, because the end price on this machine in Tanzania is $250, and that even is too expensive often for the farmers. But the program is that these planters are not donated. That's not part of the program. Donation is not part of the program. Purchasing, training, financing, trying to make these planters, put them into use under normal commercial circumstances, not under giveaways. And when we were there visiting that farm, the one farmer that we visited, he was proud to show us that he had his planter stored in a shed. And Harold, another Tanzanian who works with Harry, very astute kind of a person, his observation was he has that planter in the shed, keeping it dry and taking care of it because he paid for it. We understand that. Even though We would love to raise $100,000 and throw it over there and say, build a bunch of planters and get them out there. But that really that's an imperialist approach to the rest of the world, if you think about it. Do it our way.
Ask Harry to describe the conditions, like the amount of residue or the cover
Sure,
crop
sure.
you're planting into.
Sure, yeah.
And 30, 67.
38.
It varies,
So
of
it's
course.
too much. Don't even
But,
count. We need
that's
from
the third thing.
60
Thanks,
to 95.
Ken.
So
The
we
third
need to
thing that
use
we'll be
again
working
this
on is a
calibration
way
to make it a
to
little space.
possibly find a way to. You'll see when it goes through here, the residue will build up on the point of the plow, and so if we can figure out some way to economically to build something on there that would clear the way for the point of the plow, that's another part of our. Yeah, and Peckway planter uses chains like that on the back of their planters for drawing dirt in. That helps to cover the seed, yeah.
That was actually the plow.
Yep, just the plow, yep.
Just something to dig it up.
Yep. Right, because yesterday it wasn't high enough, and so we couldn't get the point down there properly. But you can see, it's hard to put a straight row in. It would be hard to harvest it by machine, but by hand, and then it still looks like it's not quite deep enough. I don't know. Now, Harry,
Yes.
we forgot to show how you can adjust for depth from back here.
Yes.
Come around this side, guys. You see this pivot point?
I'm curious though, how do you control the weeds? Like once you plant the crop, aren't the weeds going to grow too with your crop?
Yes, because the people, before we are trying to remove weed by
Yep.
using a hand
Yep.
with the holes like we cut. And now we start thinking to develop the weeding machine pulled by the oxen, one oxen, right, in order to make it easier for them. Because if you miss the part of agriculture, if you miss to weeding properly, you will not get enough food. Yes.
You don't have any cultivators now. You don't use cultivators now behind the oxen to do the weeding.
Hand.
Yeah, you do by hand,
Yes.
with hand tools, yeah.
Yes, hand tools. Yeah, but some people they use Roundup. to
Oh,
kill-
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
But we're not part of the situation to advise people to use Roundup.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. Hi, I'm Joe Mishka of Rural Heritage Magazine. I'm on location of one of the many events we cover that celebrates our rural heritage. If you enjoy our show, check out our magazine, where you'll learn more about the people that blend the past with what works today. You can save almost 20% off the newsstand price by subscribing at ruralheritage.com or chat with us at 877-647-2452. That's toll-free, 877-647-2452. Of the magazine?
Well, I'm Erhard Schroll from Germany, and I'm publisher and editor of Starke Pferde, but the name means literally strong horse or strong horses.
And is there an American magazine that would be similar to like what your magazine is?
I think the most similar magazine is Rural Heritage. I think it's we try to show them the newest equipment, what is available, what's going on. That's the reason why I'm here on Horse Progress Days, for example, to look what is new, what can I recommend to my readers, and this is the main thing. And the other thing are breeding of draft horses in Germany. That's also I think these three or 4 points are the main things we are dealing with. We had in the past a lot of people working in the forest with horses. That has unfortunately decreased very much. But at the moment we have a new government, and they say they will support logging with horses. They will give us some subsidy and want to support it politically. And so it's at the moment we are not knowing what happened, but we are in a good mood.
And for equipment, is there equipment made in Germany for horses?
We had a few producers in the past, but most of them had cancelled their activities, unfortunately. So I think many people have to come to United States and to import machines here. At the moment, there's only one producer who especially makes equipment for horses, and it's not too many.
Have they dropped off because the price of steel? Because lots of different reasons? Is it economic? Hard to say.
It's hard. It's hard to say.
It's not a big market.
It's not a new. It's not a new development. Okay. The price of steel is growing very much in the last year or last 2 years, like other things as well. But I think that's not the reason why. It's you must say here in the United States there are years of development of equipment, and some things are better than we can do or we can produce. But we are more interested in small equipment, and there sometimes it's difficult to find here. For one horse hitch, for example, or two horse hitch, this is the most common kind of working horses in Germany, and not 4 or 6 or 8. I run this magazine, but apart from this, we farm as well, and we use working horses. And it's a privilege for me to come here and maybe to buy equipment and try it out on our farm and make a test.
Sure.
And tell them, the readers, does it fit to German conditions or not, or what is good, what is bad. And this is really thrilling every time.
If you enjoy seeing how our ancestors lived during America's rule yesterday, you're going to love looking at these books. Volume 1 is fieldwork showing horses and vintage tractors preparing seed beds, planting, cultivating, and harvesting the crop. Volume 2 shows the work being done in the barn and farmyard, feeding and watering the livestock, getting the crop into the barn, milking the cows, shearing the sheep, and collecting the eggs. In Volume 3, we go inside the home to see the family in the kitchen canning vegetables, in the parlor listening to the radio, and in the dining room for family supper. We also head into town to shop at the general store or visit on the town square on Saturday night. Each book has over 140 large format pages. They sell for $24.95 each, or you can buy 2 for $44.95, or all 3 for $54.95 plus shipping. Call 1-877-647-2452 to order. That's 1-877-647-2452.
Here we have a really fine farmer from, is it Toronto? Ontario?
Ontario.
I'm from Ontario. His name's Ken Lang. He's been farming organically for many years. He's at this stage in his life learning more about sustainable farming and plastic and, or actually organic no-till farming of vegetables. Ken, just tell us a little bit about your experience and why you're here, and what you observed, and whatever else you want to say.
Hello, folks.
You might stand up.
I really appreciate Horse Progress Days. Being a non-Amish horse farmer, you're sort of isolated and one of a kind in your community often, and it's great to come here and be amongst a large group of horse farmers. And I've very much benefited from coming here in the past and adopting new, improved machinery. I struggled with old machines for a long time, and they would break down a lot and they didn't work very well. So I've benefited a lot from the technology and the brilliant solutions that Amish companies have created in the way of machinery. Dale sort of referred to something I've got into. I'm interested in regenerative agriculture and developing no-till organic systems. And I built a no-till drill that I could pull with horses and plant cereal grains into rolled buckwheat or into winter-killed daikon radish. And in the last 3 years, I've been doing a research project which is actually funded by the Ministry of Agriculture in Canada looking into no-till strategies for organic vegetables that don't involve plastic. So it's biological solutions, planting into winter-filled cover crops, or standing cover crops of rye and vetch, for example, and then mowing them off just before the potatoes come up. And you know, it's not easy. It's been a steep learning curve. There's a lot of things to learn. You have to be really good at growing those cover crops. Otherwise, you're sort of doomed for failure. But it's certainly a way to avoid the use of agricultural plastics and you know, keep your soil a bit more healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
What is your name?
Hello, I'm Tom Merling.
And what is the name of your organization?
In Swedish it will be Föreningen Sveriges Hästkörare, and in English the Swedish Horse Drivers Association. And I'm the president in the organization. I've been that for 7 years.
And what is the breed of draft horse that you use?
I personally have North Swedish draft horses. They are usually brown with black mane and tails.
Oh, okay.
And white nose. I do some mowing for different landowners around the Stockholm area where I live. Mowing for just to get rid of the grass or the flowers and the bees and the or whatever animals like that. And usually I use the grass I cut to feed my horses. I have 5 of them. And I do in the winter time, I do a lot of logging in the national parks where we live and work. And even we do rounds in the national park to take away trash and carry out wood for the fireplaces. So that I do with a horse-drawn carriage. And that's a way to get rid of the vehicles in the areas.
Yes. And so in the association, people are doing all kinds of different things with the horses?
Yeah, the association is just people who want to work with the horse, or a donkey or whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a draft horse. People are willing to work with them.
Okay. And that's in Sweden?
It's in Sweden, yeah.
Are there a lot of people driving horses in Sweden? How big is your group?
It's almost 1,000 persons.
Okay.
And we are 10 million Swedish population, so it's
that's
quite
a lot.
few. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And so some of them are just using them for pleasure, driving. Some of them more for work.
Yeah.
Do many of them do much farming with the horses, plowing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, they do, but not really for a living. There are not so many. There are some.
Okay.
It's more around here.
Okay. And so, why did you come to Horse Progress Days?
Well, it's a long story, but it started some years ago. I met my friend in Germany at the Fair de Stark, and I said to him, I'd like to go to the Horse Progress Days. So he invited me and took me to Michigan a few years ago. And the plan was to bring a whole bunch of people from the association to Mount Hope 2 years after that. But then COVID-19 came in between.
Yeah.
So, to this trip, we couldn't make it out with a big crowd, so it's only me.
Okay.
So hopefully in a few years I will be here with more people.
Okay, all right.
I want to go.
Okay. Is there anything like this in Sweden?
Not this big,
Yeah.
not close to this size.
Okay. Are there places for people with horses that wanted to maybe do some farming? Where do you get your mower?
From here.
Okay.
We have mowers and Swedish-made mowers too.
Okay.
This program is available for purchase. To order your copy, please call 319-362-3027 or visit www.ruralheritage.com. Rural Heritage is a bi-monthly magazine dedicated to draft animal farming and logging, as well as other aspects of our rich rural heritage. It is published by Mishka Press, which also offers a complete line of back-to-the-land books, DVDs, and calendars. Call or write for a catalog or subscription information, or visit our website at www.ruralheritage.com.